Nowadays, it's hard to imagine old school players would fit in the current NBA style of basketball. Oftentimes, we hear old heads telling people how basketball was more difficult back in the 90s. Something like, if this player ever played in today's era, he'd average 50 points per game. We usually agree with these statements, but we should also play fair and look what makes the current generation better than the past. In fact, I think of 5 old school players that would fit in today's current NBA style of basketball. We will be talking about players that you'd say their style was really ahead of their time. I'm Bin Cuevas from Watson Sports, and today we'll talk about 5 old school players who will fit in today's current style of basketball. Magic Johnson. Before the Golden State Warriors made the run and gun a necessary part of their dynasty, the Los Angeles Lakers did it first. With their Showtime brand of basketball, the Lakers were led by the point guard Magic Johnson. Both teams not only had potent offense, the Warriors and the Lakers distributed the ball very well, and they had an underrated team defense as well. Another thing to consider is how big men nowadays have handles. If we're talking about that, we shouldn't forget about Magic, who was the originator of someone above 6'7" with handles. He can run with the rest of the league and doing great while at it too. If Magic played in today's game, he would lead the team to a dynasty, the way Golden State did it in 2015. Bob McAdoo. While people credit Dirk Nowitzki for being the prototype of today's NBA, Bob McAdoo was the pioneer stretch 4. The 1975 NBA MVP was the first power forward to showcase a longer range on offense. Since there was no 3 points during that time, McAdoo spread the opponent's defense using his range. When the Lakers acquired McAdoo, they incorporated a small ball lineup with him as the center, while Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the centerpiece. During a more deliberate pace, McAdoo ran with the Lakers when he was the man in the middle. McAdoo would fit perfectly in today's small ball style. He would remain efficient despite being undersized. Jerry West. Mr. Clutch was scoring 40 points on a regular without shooting threes. And we would consider the fact that he's shooting outside without the merit of an extra point. His quickness and his lack of size would definitely benefit him in today's current NBA. Jerry West would want more than one ring if he played today. He's like the Steph Curry of the 70s, except that West would probably win an NBA Finals MVP. If you doubt it, ask Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics. West was the only player so far to win NBA Finals MVP in a losing effort as a Lakers. That's how great he was as a player in any era. Drazen Petrovic. Today's NBA has more of a European style of basketball than in previous eras, mainly because of the zone defense, and people tend to run and shoot threes instead of focusing on points in the paint. And with that, enter Drazen Petrovic of the New Jersey Nets. Even according to his rivals such as Reggie Miller and Michael Jordan, Petrovic was one of the deadliest offensive players ever. He was fearless and was one of the best shooters of all time. Unfortunately, Petrovic died in a car accident in 1993. Who knows how much more impact he would bring in today's NBA. Bill Laimbeer. Yes, you read it right. It might surprise you, but Bill Laimbeer will fit perfectly in today's NBA. Laimbeer is well known for his tough-nosed defense and physical style. However, he was also the first center who was prolific from beyond the arc. Unlike other centers back then, the three-point shot was definitely in Laimbeer's arsenal. Another underrated part of Laimbeer's game is his passing. And players such as Mark Aguirre, Isaiah Thomas, and Joe Dumars surrounded Laimbeer made his job easier. He knows where the spots are and can dish out the ball even without looking. He's like the better shooting version of Draymond Green. And those are your 5 old school players who would probably fit in today's brand of NBA basketball. I'm Vin Cuevas from Watson Sports. For more content just like this, head on over to watsonsports.com.